Welcome everyone to Chapter 12, Section 2, Surface Areas of Prisms and Cylinders. Here I'm going to talk to you about surface areas of prisms and cylinders. So surface area is a three-dimensional area. So finding just the area is just one flat object, a two-dimensional object. Whereas you hear the term surface area for a three-dimensional object. So the difference between surface area and volume is volume of it is of a three-dimensional object, and that's all the space inside of that object. The surface area is all the space on the outside of it, like the area of all the faces of it. So to find the surface area, we're going to do something called the lateral area. And if you look at this definition kind of in the middle of the page, the lateral area of a prism is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces. The net at the right shows how to find the lateral area of a prism. Okay, so it's doing the area of multiple faces. Is basically the lateral area. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the lateral area formula. The lateral area L of a right prism is L equals capital P little h. So the capital P is the perimeter of the base, and h is the height of the prism. Okay, so it's kind of a two-step process, and that'll find the lateral area of the prism. So this first example, the base is a triangle, so we don't know the perimeter of this triangle. All right, so how do I find that missing side? I can find that missing side by doing the Pythagorean Theorem. And so 6 squared plus 5 squared, that's going to equal the square root of 61. And I'll keep it as square root of 61 for right now. So perimeter equals 5 plus 6 plus square root of 61. And then I'll type in square root of 61, and I'll get that, and I'll add that to 5 and 6 for my perimeter. So I get about 18.81. Okay, so the next thing I'll need to tackle is my height. My height was that 7. So I'm going to do the lateral area. So that's just capital L equals 18.81 capital P times lowercase h 7. All right, and then I get about 131.67 equals 131.67 centimeters squared. Okay, so the most common thing to get wrong is misidentifying the bases. Remember, if it's a prism, it has two bases, okay, like a top and a bottom. So I know this was a triangular prism because, well, first of all, the book made it easy and it's highlighted, okay, so that told me that was the base. But secondly, I have two triangles, whereas if you use the rectangle, you see you have 3 rectangular pieces, so that wouldn't necessarily be the base. So I'd get a slightly different answer if I ran through it that way. Looking at this one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-sided figure, so that's a hexagon. So this is a hexagonal prism. Looking at this, I have 4 rectangles going around, but I have 2 rectangles top and bottom. So 9 and 7 are my, that's for the base. So I don't want to go too fast here, so let's just get started on part B. First step I'm going to do is my perimeter. So like I said before, this is 6 sides. So perimeter is 5 times 6, which is 30. And so my lateral area is just 30 times 12, which is 360 centimeters squared. Okay, so looking at C, my perimeter of my base is, let's see here, I have 2 sides of 9, and then I have 2 sides of 7. And so 9 times 2 plus 7 times 2 is 32. So then my lateral area is 32 times height of 14. And that's 448 feet squared. Okay. Bit easier when we don't have to do any rounding on it, isn't it? So let's go to the next page. And here I'm going to talk to you about the surface area. So the surface area combines the lateral area and the area of the bases. So it's the total object, okay? So you might see total surface area written instead of surface area sometimes. So lateral area is only a partial, and then surface area is the whole thing. So you're gonna use the lateral area, and then you're add it to the two bases because it's a prism. So the two areas of the two bases. So you can look at it like this with the L plus 2B, or if you don't remember the L formula, it's PH plus 2B. So we'll go step by step. The first thing I'll need to do is I need to find the perimeter. And again, which one's my base? My base is the ones with the 6 and the 4. I have 2 of those, and I have like 4 of the ones with the 9 on it. So I have 6 times 2 plus 4 times 2, and that equals 20. Then I have to do my lateral area. So L equals 20 times 9, which is 180. Okay, and then let's see here. The formula says add it to 2b, which is length times width, or the area of the base. So this base is length times width. So I'm going 2 times 6 times 4, which is 48. So now all I need to do is just add these two together. What's 180 plus 48? I get 228 from my final area for a surface area. Oh, don't forget your unit, feet squared. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Here I have a triangular prism again. So first step is find the perimeter. So that means we need to figure out what this side is. So you have to do Pythagorean Theorem. 5 squared plus 8 squared is the square root of 89. So my perimeter is 5 plus 8 plus square root of 89. And now is when I'll do my rounding. So I get a perimeter of 22.43 approximately. So 22.43. Okay, now I just need to multiply, or I need to add that to, I need to do my lateral area. That was the next step I did. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. So lateral area is that number times the height, which was 12. So I get a final area, or lateral area, I should say, of 269.21 about. Okay, so that's my lateral area. So now I need to do 2 times the area of the base. So let's see here. 2b is going to equal, well, the base is a triangle. So 5 times 8. So I have 2 times 5 times 8 over 2. So that's 40 over 2, which is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. So my 2b is 40. And then now I know my L, I know my 2b. So I'm going to do L plus 2b, 269.21 plus 40. And you get 309.21 approximately. And then again, don't forget your units, feet squared. All right, let's keep it going. So now we're going to talk about the surface area of a cylinder. So it's a slightly different formula since we have a curved object. But the important stuff is this. You need to do, it's still going to be the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. That's what they have in common as the area of the prisms. But your lateral area formula is 2 pi RH, and your area of your base formula is different too, pi r squared. Whoops, let's see here. Let's get started with this. So I have 15 and it's pointing to the upper part of the line. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's trying to tell me that that's the radius. So the first thing I'm going to do is do my lateral area, which is 2 pi RH. So L equals 2 pi r h. All right, so type that in and we'll approximate it. And I get approximately 1696.46. The next step would be to find my 2 times my area of the base, so that's going to be 2 times pi, r is 15, and square that. And I get approximately 1413.72. So the first thing I did was get the lateral area, so I'm asking for the lateral area and the surface area. So I'm just going to add those two together, and I get approximately 3,110.18 millimeters squared. Okay, so last example here, going to be very similar. Let's see here. So I'm given the radius and I'm given the height. So the first step I did was find the lateral area. So L equals 2 pi r, well r is 13, h is 8. So I get L is about 653.45. Okay, the next step I did was get my 2b, 2 times the area of the base. So that's 2 times pi r squared. You don't have to put it all in parentheses like I am. I'm just kind of doing that out of habit. I get 2b equals about 1061.86. Okay, so I have my lateral area, I have my 2b, add those two together, and you're gonna get a surface area of approximately 1715.31, and I'll write my unit here as yards squared. And that's it for the notes. Until next time, goodbye everyone.